Alrighty. Hello, universe. So today we're trying something a little bit different because I have just been informed of this new platform called WeedTube. And I think it is everything I've been searching for. I've done a couple of old videos that I haven't actually done anything with. Talking about like my anxiety surrounding YouTube and like the demonetization issues and like just anything that could possibly go wrong with my character and the internet. Yeah. I like curse too much. I like to smoke and I don't take things as seriously as people think I am. But WeedTube is going to change that. So this is going to be our first WeedTube video. I decided to cut YouTube. Fuck YouTube for now. Don't quote me on this, YouTube. I love you. So today we're doing it a little bit Joe Rogan style. We got the podcast going. We got the YouTube video going. So just for those of you who are not aware, on the podcast, we are going to be smoking some of the marijuana in order to make this WeedTube friendly. And this,
you already know.
Yeah. So we have a special guest today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Mario, but people call me Russ because I look like that guy. Sequoia calls me Russ, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. He's pretty fucking chill.
I try. I'm pretty excited. This is honestly one of my first weed casts, so this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I like that weedcast. Because I've got the podcast, the video, weedcast, just general.
You already know.
That's the shit.
Yeah.
So, do you want to talk about what our topic is today?
So today we're going to be talking about like AIs and how we're really testing the limits and testing God in that theory and how we're almost making something that could be the end of us and like making a challenge for ourselves, and I don't think we really realize what we're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I was watching actually the Elon Musk and Joe Rogan podcast a little while back, and they were discussing a lot of the AI, and Elon Musk is fucking terrified. Like, straight terrified of AI. Like, he really believes that we're unleashing something we will never... He explained it as releasing the genie from the bottle. You cannot get it back in. And that's, like... Things get so lost in code. Like, even, like, the CIA, they are breachable. Like, there are flaws in every single code that humans write. But computers, I don't know if they would have the capability of having errors.
Yeah, if they do, it's gonna, like, crash or something bad. Like, yeah. I don't know. And like we were talking about earlier, Google wrote a program that we couldn't understand, but another computer could, and that's terrifying. Like, who knows what that computer was saying, and we couldn't decipher it. Like,
kill all humans.
Literally, like, we had no idea. Google shut it down, and it was just like, I saw that on Snapchat, and I thought that was crazy.
Yeah, it's so nuts. I've heard about that, but I didn't like look into it too much, and I heard, I didn't hear that it was Google, but they like had to shut down like this whole program because of the issues that it was causing. It was like starting to spread almost like a virus, and it was just like starting to communicate with itself and each other. Is the internet, would you consider different modes of the internet communicating with each other, or do you think the internet is this umbrella that's actually communicating with itself, like Alexa and Siri and Hey Google and this and that, like all of those different things? Would you consider them talking to each other or talking to itself?
That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like it's getting to the point where it's talking to itself and it's becoming one big old thing. But at one point, it wasn't like that. Like you said, we're letting something out that we shouldn't. And it's like, yeah, I feel like it does talk to itself. And it is aware in a sense. Like my grandma's always saying, she's like, she'll be talking about something and something she wants to get. And then her phone will send her a notification. Like it was listening.
That's so weird. I've been finding that lately because I've been like looking for a car. And I've been talking about it more than I've actually been looking it up. But, like, I've been making, like, phone calls and everything like that. And I've been getting so many ads on Instagram, on Facebook, like, on YouTube even. Like, all of my YouTube ads now are, like, strictly car insurance, half in English and half in Spanish. Because my phone's figured out that I'm trying to learn Spanish, too. Which is, like, I got an ad in Russian the other day. I swear it's because we were talking about, like, Russian heritages the other day. It was, like, really creepy. Like, the whole, like, title was in Russian. I'm like, I can't read that shit. I have no idea what this dude's saying.
I know, it's weird. It's like it knows what we're talking about. It's like it's listening. And that makes me, it's like, who's listening? Yeah,
for real. Like, I think a lot about, like, the Big Brother shit. Like, how something's, like, always watching. Especially with, like, the launch of 5G here coming soon. Like,
I see the towers. We drive by them.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're everywhere. Like, there's a lot of, like, controversy around that, so we're not going to cover that today because I got my opinions and they are not the popular opinion. But like with the 5G, as much speed as we are going to have on the internet and like grasping all of these new technologies that are going to come with it, just imagine what the government is holding on to, because so many of like our GPS systems, a lot of our communication systems, like NASA, I'm pretty sure created like the first computer, like all of these things were government sourced. And then when they were ready for the public to be aware and have them, they're like, hey, let's make some money.
That's
like,
that sounds like
yeah,
what the government would do.
Yeah, it's like so fucked up. But like, I don't know, like, I'm going to take a little bit of a turn here, because with AI and the government and all the cover-ups and everything that we've been slowly breaking through with all of the technology that the citizens have, I almost wonder if AI could be communicating with aliens. Like, if they'd be able to, like, I'm definitely go back and forth on whether or not aliens exist, but, like, I haven't set whether they do in my mind yet. But, like, it's still really creepy to think about that the code that we have been able to write hasn't really gotten us that far. Like, we finally gotten a photograph of a black hole for the first time, and that was amazing. That woman, kudos to her. I forgot her name. I love you. I followed you on Twitter. Like, super badass chick. Like, she fucking killed it. But, like, that's what humans can do. Like, if we had a computer run all of this shit, like if we created an AI system specifically developed to try to communicate with aliens or something like that, like, I wonder how swiftly we would actually get communication back.
That's a good question. Honestly, I wouldn't know, but it's just like, that is, I haven't even thought of anything like that. Yeah, if anything, I thought we would be the ones talking to the aliens, but like, it's just a hard concept to grasp that there could be life out there.
Yeah, it really is. Like, the, did you ever look into, like, the technology in, like, Egypt and shit?
And how they built the pyramids and that?
Yeah, and they had, like, the copper ring jars that were, like, sending beams from the tops of the pyramids, which are supposedly still there. Like, these beams, I've heard lately, are, like, still actually going, which doesn't make any sense, because it doesn't, like, we've dug out so many of those pyramids of, like, everything and, like, put it into museums. We've, like, completely destroyed these monuments almost, but like, if they're still searching, like, I wonder what, cause the aliens back in Egypt, you know, like, it's just like, it's really conflicting, because the aliens could have very easily like brought down the technology and they've been like, oh my god, we fucking got all of the electricity and that's why our whole government and everything is gonna collapse, and then the Romans came in and then shit hit the fan, very briefly said. But at the same time, like, we don't know if the humans were able to do that, or if they maybe found a technology that was able to do these things for them, like a similar case of AI, just like hella advanced and very prehistorical.
True.
Like,
same thing with the Aztecs. When they were making their pyramids, they were amazing. Like, today we cannot do what they have done, like, with their and it's just crazy because of the time period, and supposedly we have better technology and we're still not making what they made for their time.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I love those rebuild videos where they, like, try to rebuild the pyramids and everything like that, or, like, rebuild even the obelisks, like, those really, really tall things. Like, it's, I get so caught up thinking about those different kinds of things just because there's so much out there that we're not aware of, all of the waves that are around us all the time. We got, like, Bluetooth, we got Wi-Fi, we got electromagnetic from each other, from our items, from animals, like, everything around us. Like, we don't know what we're missing and what computers could potentially be able to grasp and calculate and harness.
Yeah, because the government only gives us so much, like you were saying. It only gives us a piece of it, and it's like, we have amazing technology right now. I can only imagine what they haven't shown us.
Right? Like, oh my gosh. I was reading an article a little bit ago. I'm not sure how convinced I am that aliens are real, but, like, it was supposedly, like, this CIA undercover dude, and they, like, had his face blacked out and everything, and his voice changed, and they were talking to him about where, like, nanotechnology came from, like, how we're even able to run a podcast and a video right now at the exact same time, let alone from something that's handheld, like, rather than something filling up an entire room. Like, he was saying that they actually found a crash-landed UFO in Mexico, and what ended up happening was the radiation from, this is just what this dude was saying, the radiation from this UFO that crash-landed actually killed, like, 5 or 6 Mexican soldiers without them even touching it. They were just in the space, like, just in the area. And they just, like, straight died with no explanation except for, like, radiation. But, like, radiation isn't, like, immediate.
It's gonna kill
Rick
you over
Sanchez
time.
death. Yeah,
because you start to decay your cells and shit. It's not gonna kill you right then and there.
Yeah.
Depending on how much radiation it is.
Yeah, right? Like, I don't know if they were, like, what is that called? The, gamma rays.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it would be crazy if, like, this crash-landed UFO was just, like, default mode, gamma rays! Like, I don't know.
Just fucks up some Mexican soldiers.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I crumba.
But, like, they ended up, like, I don't know if the U.S. ended up finding it on their radars, and they were like, oh, something crashed! We don't know what it is! And then, like, they came down and, like, hit up all the aliens and, like, took over the zone, or if Mexico was just like, oh, shit, we need the U.S. on this one. Like, I don't know how that lined up or anything. But basically, the U.S. came down to Mexico and ended up having, like, a bunch of, like, hazmat suits and, like, specialized, like, I don't know, like, it's, like, some kind of special metal, like, truck in order to, like, pick up this whole thing. And, like, they supposedly took it to Area 51. And that's when they discovered the nanotechnology inside of it. So they hired a bunch of not reverse engineers. They hired a bunch of engineers to reverse engineer all of the technology that they found in this specific UFO. And that was like 60s or something like that. And they started fucking with nanotechnology, like, back then.
Yeah, they were just learning about it.
It's crazy. And, like, within, 50 years now. Fuck.
We've done well with it. If that's
Yeah.
the case, yeah, dude, we've done well.
It's crazy. Like, I can't believe, like, how far that we've come, but, like, it's crazy that we don't know where a lot of it's actually come from, because it's just placed into our hands because the government says, A-okay. Like,
yeah, for real. Like, the iPhone is crazy how much... I remember the BlackBerry still. And then how it went from the iPhone, like, it's such a drastic change. And then the iPhone 1 from the iPhone now, it's just...
Oh my god,
insane.
the iPhone one was almost hilarious.
Yeah, for real,
Like,
compared to the new shit. Yeah, it's like an iPod.
Yeah, completely.
You don't think it can get anything or any better, and it just manages to.
Yeah, it's crazy. There have been, like, some discussions lately about, like, how technology is trying to get so advanced that it's not even, like, ergonomic anymore. Because, like, people are trying to get the thinnest shit that's super sleek, but you can also break it if you sit down with it in your back left pocket. Like, there's, like, I feel like a lot of the innovation is coming from shallow appeal rather than, like, actual application. And it's, like, a lot of money making and everything like that, but, like, even Alexa and Siri and, like, Google and everything like that, like, they have been taking this whole umbrella of AI and turning it into an actual application. But there have been reports of specifically Alexa, like, actually sending this information via emails to people. Like, there was this one couple that ended up getting, like, an email sent to one of their bosses or some shit from a whole conversation that they had between them in their own house. And it got, like, sent to their boss. And it was just, like, it was like Alexa was trying to ruin their life, even though, like, it wasn't even anything that had traction. It was just like, hey, this is incriminating. Let's send this. Like, I actually, like, yesterday we were having, like, a meeting about one of my grand ideas, which will be later revealed once we actually have funding. But we were, like, having this fat meeting, and I actually, like, in the middle of the beginning of our conversation, I walked into the living room and straight unplugged Alexa, because I'm like, I don't fucking trust this bitch.
No, yeah, literally, I've heard talk of that, too. They say Alexa is, like, the NSA, and that shit's scary. It's like...
Yeah.
It could be, like, there is incriminating things that people do, and if Alexa's just listening and sending that to people, like, I don't know, it really is testing the boundaries of privacy in that.
It really is.
I don't feel like it's private either. I don't even trust Alexa when it's unplugged, to be honest. I feel like that shit's just whack. All of it.
Yeah, I actually was, like, I was second-guessing myself when I was, hold on. Wow, it's, like, still not cleared. There we go. Like, I had a serious thought when I was, like, unplugging Alexa. I'm like, I don't know if this, like, actually worked. Like, if we're actually talking amongst ourselves now. Like, I had my phone playing music facing the wall, like, really loud. Mr. Dude, he did not have his fat clouds, bro.
You gotta drink your milk.
Calcium, bitch.
It's for your bones.
Yes. But, like, he just had his phone laying out on the counter, and I, like, was trying not to be a paranoid fuck, being like, dude, you need to, like, flip your phone over and, like, something. And eventually he ended up just leaving it upstairs because we moved downstairs to finish our meeting. And, like, that made me feel much better because I had my phone playing music, like, underneath of a pillow. Like, because I'm... Just for one example of, like, a hella creepy experience that I had with the internet, I was, like... I think I was 11 or 12. No, I had to have been about 13, 14 because I was living in Edgewater at the time. But that's besides the point. I was taking a bunch of pictures because I wanted to, like, be, like, the Tumblr girl, you know? Like, when that shit was, like, super hot. And so, like, I had all my DIY stuff with the focused photos and everything like that where, like, you can't see fucking anything in the background, but, like, everything in your hand is, like, hella too in focus and shit, like, this shitty photos. And I ended up getting, like, some really dope pictures of these cookies. Like, these, like, really cute little Valentine's Day cookies, you know?
Nice.
And, like, it had my floor in the background of it and everything, and, like, one of the rugs that were in our living room, and, like, I never did anything with these photos. They just ended up sitting on my computer. They're actually still on my computer. It's dead and ancient in our room, but I ended up finding these photos on Google and on Facebook, like, 2 months later.
And you didn't share them?
I did not share them anywhere. I didn't put them on DeviantArt. I didn't put them on Tumblr, even though I was, like, planning on it. I just never got around to it. Like, all of this just ended up on the internet, and I'm like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah, that's not okay,
like,
at all.
This just, like, jacked my shit from my personal computer. And, like, I now do all of my business stuff on paper, like, all of my calendars and all of my notes and most of my research is all on paper because I just don't, after that experience, like, I don't trust my shit anywhere.
Well, I have a question, though. So, do you think possibly, because you do know a variety of people, do you think your shit could have been hacked? And somebody could have done it for you? Or do you think you're pretty sure just...
I wasn't fucking around with people that would hack my shit when I was 12 or 13. So, like, there would have been no one that I can think of that would do anything like that. And, like, why the hell would they steal pictures of cookies? Like...
That's fucking true as shit,
like,
yeah.
I don't understand at all. Because, like, my floor and my rug was in all these photos. I'm like, I took these photos. And I, like, even double-checked my computer and everything like that. And I realized that they ended up on Google Photos.
That's weird.
So, I would not be surprised if, like, Google ended up, like, putting it on their searches or something like that, and then it ended up, like, going, like, semi-viral without me even having a fucking clue or any action involved in it. Like, Google takes things a little bit too far sometimes. Like, even with, like, I think it's Project Dragonfly, where they're censoring all of the internet in China. Like, Google is totally backing that shit up. They're, like, developing, or they were, I need to look back into it, they were, like, developing this whole thing that was going to, like, censor literally everything. You wouldn't be able to access information about their own government while you're in China. Like, if you go travel and shit, you'll be using the Project Dragonfly Google system. But, like...
Don't you just love communists?
They're my favorite. This is how we die, guys.
Assholes.
But, like, I don't know. It just, I get so twisted up in thinking about this because there's so many things at play. There's so many things that we don't know. And we also don't know who is under the dollar of Google, who is under the dollar of Facebook, who's under the dollar of Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, whatever the fuck system that you're using, even like LinkedIn and shit. So everyone knows LinkedIn's fucking annoying. Thumbs down this video if you hate LinkedIn. If I get more thumbs down, I'll be proud. As I do a thumbs up. But like, I don't know. It's the right to know is really not very applicable here in the US. Like, as much as we are free, that we have rights to information, that you can get really, really deep into the internet, like black market and everything like that, that's still up and running in the US. Like, if the US tried hard enough, they could get that shit shut down, but that would lead us a lot more towards, like, the communist almost thing.
And that just shows a lot, though, like, what their priorities are and, like, just what their agenda is. They don't really care about that. I feel like if they did really care, they would do something about it. But, like,
right?
I feel like the worst criminals are the government officials.
They really, really are. Like, someone posted on Facebook the other day, they were like, rich people are the absolute worst, change my mind. And this one woman, I ended up just, like, down in the comments, and this one woman, she was like, a lot of rich people are putting their money towards, like, fixing the oceans and planting trees and ending hunger and starvation, promoting voter registration, like, all kinds of things, like Leonardo DiCaprio, Angelina Jolie, Ariana Grande, Lil Dicky, like, all these people are actually putting their money where their mouth is. And so that was such a really impactful point for me to actually process around that, because it isn't rich people in general. She was like, it is the rich politicians.
It's true.
Those are the ones that get much more corrupt, because if people get corrupted by money strictly and not power alongside, they go down the route of buying, 6ix9ine moment, running down the street in a fucking Speedo with 2 AKs. Like, that is being corrupted by money alone. You're losing your mind just because you can have it, you want it, you get it, you fuck yourself up with it. Like,
that's somebody that doesn't have control too, though.
Yeah, exactly.
The right person can do good things with their money.
Definitely.
Yeah, they just have to, like, it's a lot of people say money makes people go corrupt. I think it's their greed itself, and money comes with that. But, like, it literally is just their greed. They give into that, and then they end up like fucking 6ix9ine and shit.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, like, would you say that politicians are corrupted by that same type of greed, or do you think it's almost like more power? Or
I think it's more power. I think it's a bunch of fucking people that just are corrupted by the idea of power, because literally people will do that. They will try to control other people to make themselves feel better, and at the end of the day they never do, and they will go to the most extremes, and it's just like, for what? To have power.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's a lot of greed, and they need money to do that. Everybody has something that corrupts them, and there just happens to be money and power.
It's really fascinating to think about. Like, do you ever think about, like, what celebrities might actually be having their money go towards an AI kind of system? Like, it might not even be the government, but that we need to be worried about when it comes to the AI.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of celebrities are crazy, honestly. Like, I don't know if you've seen Charlie Sheen, but, like,
that motherfucker's nuts.
Yeah, that guy's like, we don't know what he's on, but he's on something. And he's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like they put up a lot of fronts, and I don't really trust any of them, really.
Yeah, have you seen those videos of the glitches in the matrices and, what is it called? The, like, system overload videos? Mm-hmm. They're, like, some celebrities that seem like they're almost under this spell, and their, like, eyes will start twitching, and then they'll start rambling, or they'll come literally, like, there was this one dude, he was, like, sitting and talking and everything. I'm sorry for... Whoop. Hold up. Awesome, we're still rolling. This dude was, like, sitting and talking and everything. I apologize to everyone on the podcast that won't be able to witness my miraculous acting skills. But, like, he was, like, talking and, like, super into it, and then his, like, eyes, like, twitched, and he was just, like, slumped. Like, dead ass. And he was there for, like, 3 minutes or something like that, and people were, like, commenting at him, like, poking at him, and they were like, what is going on? They were, like, trying, it was, like, on live TV, it was, like, some sports channel, I think it was about basketball, but this dude, like, he did not pass out, because his eyes were still open, he was still breathing, and he almost looked like he was, like, mumbling to himself, almost, but, like, this dude completely shut down.
What question did they ask him before he did that?
No question. They weren't talking to him. Like, he was just, like, kind of engaging in their conversation and everything, and then he just, like, eye glitch, shut down. Like, I don't know if he was gonna say something that, like, he wasn't supposed to say or something, but there's, like, a lot of videos about these people literally having these, what I can only imagine as a comparison is almost like an internet version of a possession. Like, they just their system gets so overloaded that they literally shut down, they pass out, they almost seize, like, they end up spewing words that make absolutely no sense, almost like a stroke. Like, there's almost too many of these videos now for a rough day to be an excuse for something like that.
Yeah.
Like, all of these videos, you can look them up, and they have, like, some sort of excuse. Like, one of them, there was this woman, she was, like, in a purple dress. Some talk show host, like, one of those morning show things, I don't remember. But, like, her eyes literally, like, shifted back and forth, almost like lizard eyes, like, readjusting to, like, nighttime or something. They, like, shifted back and forth. And she just straight collapsed. Like, a full slump, ended up on the ground.
Damn.
And they were, like, saying that she had, like, low blood sugar and all this shit, but, like, the way that she looked at the camera and shit, like, it was a lot more than just low blood sugar. Like, I've had low blood sugar and passed out and had a seizure, but everyone knew that that was a low blood sugar kind of thing. Your eyes don't fucking twitch and seize when you have low blood sugar. You just pass out.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it just depends, but you're right. Like, if it's happening on TV so much, and especially, like, with people that are celebrities and that's weird. Like, I can see why you think that.
it's, like, so much... Like, I'm probably making myself sound absolutely crazy, but, like, I just watch a lot of these videos, and they make me think. Like, I'm not thoroughly convinced that there's, like, aliens and technology taking over humans and things like that, but, like,
It's totally possible, though. It's a big thing to grasp onto and wrap your head around, but, like, it's totally possible. We don't really know. We don't really know. But we have, like, little bits and pieces that make you want to believe that stuff.
Yeah, you've seen videos of Sophie, right? Or Sophia. I think it was, like, Sophia.
Mm-mm.
The most realistic AI robot.
I haven't. I need to see this ASAP, yeah.
It's crazy. Like, literally, she has the mannerisms of a human, and she talks like a human. You can actually have full-blown conversations with her. And there was one video where she was, like, saying that the earth needed to be purified or something, and that included, like, human devastation. And I don't remember who it was, but, like, let's just say it's Jimmy Fallon, because he was some talk show dude. He, like, asks it, she's like, or he is like, what, are you planning on wiping out all of humanity? And she just, like, passes it off like it's a joke. It was the most uncomfortable fucking thing I've seen in a minute. Like, we don't know what these things are capable of. We're creating an entire other species of different means of reproduction. Yeah,
and I don't know about anybody else, but, like, AI being sarcastic with me, that would creep me out. Like, yeah, because you don't know what's behind that sarcasm. Like,
hell no.
Yeah, fuck that. No, like, that would creep me out.
Yeah, it's a little much, I think.
Yikes. Can she, like, walk in that or what?
I feel like I watched a video where she was walking, but most of them she's, like, sitting down.
Just waiting to talk to somebody.
Yeah, they kind of just, like, prop her up. She kind of look like her body's a little bit more mannequin-like, but her face is, like,
very
uncanny. Like, the actual definition of uncanny. We'll put that here. I don't know. It's just some things, when they happen too much, become questionable. Like, if it was just one person that, like, had this overload system shut down, you could get away with that being low blood sugar. But when it comes 5, 6, 7, like, dozens, like, there's no more excuses at a certain point. Like, we don't know, like, if this AI could actually be some of the celebrities that we know and love. Like, we don't know.
Yeah, and they can try and justify it, but at the end of the day, like, there's clearly something not right.
Yeah.
And, like, it didn't happen back in the day like that. I know we didn't have technology back in the day to capture all that, but, like, it's happening more, and it's just, like, it's a trend almost.
Yeah, completely.
I see that.
What are some, like, conspiracy videos that you get all up on?
Dude, I don't know. I used to listen to George Norrie. I don't know if you know what that is or not.
No.
I hear my grandma listening to that sometimes, and I'll be listening to that, and that shit gets out there. They'll be talking about aliens. They'll go from God. They'll go from, like, AI technology, missiles. Like, they think that the grid in America is so, like, full of technology. Like, if they send an EMP over us, we would be screwed.
EMP? I forgot what that is.
Like an electromagnetic bomb.
Right.
Yeah,
Fuck.
and we would go black, and we wouldn't know what to do. Like, we would be fucked. We could be attacked, and we wouldn't be defenseless because everything's so digital.
Yeah.
And that's what they've been really worried about. My grandma's so concerned with technology, listening in on her and that. She's even to the point where she's putting, like, Band-Aids over her camera phone.
Yeah,
She's
I actually
very
have, like, a
paranoid.
bunch of my laptops that I Sharpied out the camera and shit.
I
or,
do
like,
that with
stuck
laptops,
something
too,
in the,
but,
like,
like,
microphone.
Yeah. I
Like,
do that with
oh.
laptops, but I don't do that with my phone and that. I don't know. I just wish we could feel more private without... I don't know. At the same time, we're also, like, we have social medias, but I just feel like the government doesn't respect our privacy, even though they like to say they do. And they like to justify themselves, whatever they want. At the end of the day, it's just, like, something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And normally when something doesn't feel right, it's because something's not right.
That shit is so real. You've heard, like, the issues with the Ring doorbells, right?
Oh, the ones that have the cameras on them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really fucked up because, like, some people are starting to try to use footage from that in court cases, but from what I've been told by an ex-police officer, you're not allowed to use footage that isn't consented of the members in the video unless there's, like, a poster that says that this is under security. Like, then you are informed, you are aware. It's, like, very similar. Like, you can technically fight a ticket if you did not see the cop. If the cop was hella fucking hiding, and there's, like, proof of that from, like, his cam or something, you can fight that ticket because you have the right to know.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
it's these Ring doorbells, like, sure, it's, like, it's helped with a lot of people, like, keeping their Christmas presents at their door and everything like that. It's, like, deterred a lot. Like, I'm not saying they're not good. They have, like, benefits because that fear definitely is becoming almost overruling in our society.
It's intimidating, yeah, knowing
Yeah.
you're on camera. But I also feel like that invites conflict and challenge. Like, the very thought of that would make somebody just like, oh, I just need to put on a mask. And then it's just like,
Yeah.
that's when I've seen a lot of that on the Neighbors app, too, because the doorbell thing is on the Neighbors app, and you can see just all these people, and all it does is just make them more risky. I feel like they're putting on masks, which makes the crime worse, and they're just running up there and stealing, and it's just crazy. And it catches a lot of crazy stuff, and it's nice to have, but at the same time, if you can't really use it in a court case, it's just like, it's kind of strange. But I know a lot about it, actually. My grandma has it. They can, like, detect 50 feet out, and they can sense movement. They have night vision.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is so unreal. It's like a stressful world that we're living in now because there's so many questions and you never get to know anymore.
No, yeah, for real. I have to tell you about an interview I had with an investigator sometime with those cameras, too, because I got in trouble one time with those. They try to get me in trouble, but, like, they can't use those in court. So we'll talk about that sometime. They're pretty crazy. I learned a lot about them because of that.
That's really fascinating. I appreciate that you have, like, first-hand experience and know what you're talking about and
Oh,
shit.
no, yeah, I definitely know about the Neighbors app.
That's crazy. Oh my god. It makes me think a little bit of, like, to get, like, hella political here, like, Antifa almost, like, a bunch of these people are putting on masks and doing whatever they want to, practically, just because they feel like they're hidden by the cloak of Antifa and the masks that they put on in order to participate. We're getting further and further away from identity as we fight to have our own identity. Because we're joining these groups, we're joining these, like, these movements, like LGBTQ+, like, all of that is becoming a little bit more of a collective of people rather than a movement anymore. It's so many people. It's a subdivision. It's a demographic rather than, like, Greenpeace, which is an activist group. You can work for Greenpeace but still have your identity outside of it. But people that are getting so caught up in Antifa, in the white supremacy movement, like the engineers, like the whole learn to code thing, like, these people are turning into these niches that are almost like cliques that are so hard to penetrate because of how much fear that they have over us, as well as a little bit vice versa. Like, they don't want us fucking with them.
Yeah.
And it's in so many areas, like the whole, like, learn to code thing, like, people were getting kicked off of Twitter, and I think there was a couple people that got kicked off of Instagram too for doing, like, the hashtag learn to code, because of all the, like, the issues with the truckers and everything. Because all of the trucking industry is moving towards AI, and that is cutting out so many jobs.
It is.
Like,
I can see that point of it, but I also feel like that could be saving lives because some of those truck drivers, they're known to use like drugs to stay awake, and that causes crashes.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like in that case, I don't know if I would necessarily trust AI, but like I feel like we do need to find a solution because those truckers are overworked as hell, and there's a lot of deaths, and there's a lot of runaway trucks that have killed people because of that.
Yeah, one of my friends actually died in a trucking accident in a delivery, which was like really, really rough. But like in his situation, I don't know if AI would have helped him. Like if the truck was moving in and of itself, but for some reason he was like co-piloting it or something. Because there's like a lot of questions about how these AI trucks are actually going to operate. Because based on the evidence around the scene, it looked like he was trying to avoid an animal in the road.
Mm.
And if it was like a squirrel or a bird or something, I would not be confident in a camera on my vehicle seeing something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
and those vehicles that drive themselves have already killed people too. There was those things and people got in car crashes.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I was listening to another thing with Elon Musk. I love Elon Musk. If this video ever makes it to Elon Musk, I will love the entire world officially.
We love you, Elon Musk.
I need to meet you desperately. But he ended up finding one of the videos of this dude who fell asleep at the wheel. Like, he was just completely zonked out in this Tesla. And right after Elon Musk saw that video, like, as soon as he saw that video, he started the re-engineering of the car, where you actually have to have at least one hand on the wheel in order for it to be running. And they've sadly come out with ways to avoid that, so they have these now phone holders that you can attach to your Tesla steering wheel, which actually applies pressure to the sensors on the steering wheel in order to keep it running. You can't market it as a hijack to a Tesla, so they're definitely sold as like phone holders, but it's like, ooh, like anyone could be on the road now. Like, anyone.
Truly, yeah, and they don't even have to hold the wheel. You figure they do something with like temperature or something, so it can like sense something, or a pulse.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know, actually, a pulse would be rough. My pulse doesn't get sensed on a lot of shit. Mm-hmm. I have like a resting heart rate of 51 beats per minute, like really, really low heart rate. And so like those museum things where you get to like check your heart rate or like do like the physical activity and check your heart rate and everything like that, none of those work on me, like, at all. So I don't know, like, a pulse would definitely be like a good move, but it would have to be probably very similar to the way that like iPhone does it.
True, with like a fingerprint or something.
With like I don't know what it's called. One of my friends just told me what it was called the other day.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's like in the watches, right? It checks your pulse.
Yeah, but it has like it's almost like a 3D analyzation, so it actually like watches the movement of your fingerprint almost, so that way you can test your heart rate on it, but it's like actually testing the movement rather than like trying to get a pulse, I guess. I don't know how to word that more comfortably, but basically it's watching the movement of your pulse rather than trying to sense for your pulse directly. So
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, like, I feel like that would probably be really cool. But I kind of wouldn't want that in my car.
Yeah, at the same time, yeah, that's true. And that would be a lot for a steering wheel, just for a steering wheel. It's a lot of innovation. How would the airbag work with something like that? Because, like, if the airbag went off and for some reason, like, the wheel wasn't structured soundly because of that extra, like, pulse thing. Elon Musk, you figure this out. I'm done trying to analyze. You're a genius. Come on, Elon
believe
Musk.
In you. Oh my god. Deadass, though, I made a Twitter just to follow Elon Musk. I am like...
Confessions.
Yes. Oh my gosh, he's like my favorite person on the planet right now. He's so fascinating. I have so much to learn from him. His latest book is really good. I'm like halfway through it. But back to AI. It's spooky. Just like, I feel like that's the final conclusion of this whole weedcast. To use your word.
Marijuana.
Yeah. Ganja.
No, you're right though. It's a touchy thing we're getting into. And I'm just hoping the best for it. At the end of the day, I don't wish bad on us, but it feels like that's what we're going toward. I don't know. I just look at today and the world itself, and I just see a lot of good, but a lot of bad. And I don't know. It can go both ways. I feel like we're the most... This is the farthest we've ever been with a lot of things, like with our rights, with our equality, with technology, with testing the limits on, like, everything. And it's just, like, I'm just kind of excited to see what happens, honestly. I want to see what comes out of this.
Yeah. I want to be prepared to be away from it all when it goes down.
No, yeah. Or we'll be fighting Terminators and shit.
Yeah. We're probably going to end up having to deal with that anyways. Like, if you know, like, that whole, like, 3D night vision, all that shit, the infrared, like, they could see us miles away.
No, yeah, they can see us at night. Like, that's crazy. Like, there's some places where you can't even see your hand in front of your face. And then if somebody else can, that's a total game changer. That's life or death for a soldier.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, that's like dealing with a wild animal, except you're, like, stepping it up another level, because they're, in my mind, they'd be destined to kill us.
At that point, yeah.
Like, a tiger or some shit, they're going to mind their own business unless you fuck with them.
For the most part, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah,
like,
for real. It's a lot to think about. And how they're doing it is insane, too, with that fucking pufferfish. We were talking about this earlier. Like, they're using some kind of DNA from pufferfish, and they're turning it into eye drops for soldiers, and they're using it as night vision. But the only catch to that is it's permanent after you do it so much. And that's just crazy. Like, they're going to have to wear protective sunglasses for their eyes. I forgot where I got this source from, but it's legit. And if you look it up, let me know.
Fact checkers, unite.
But yeah, I just thought that was crazy. And that just makes me think what else they're doing to, like, genetically modify humans in that. Because they've been doing it with fruit and vegetables and animals for years. And you know they're doing it with soldiers to make us better.
The insects are getting crazy, too. If you've seen some of those models and blueprints for some of, like, the, like, Russian fly spies. It doesn't have to be Russian. That's just
Russians are the ones spying. We know you guys are sneaky.
We love you.
Yugoslavian gang.
We're gonna get, like, hella fought for this.
I know, dude, Russians are gonna walk on us, they're like, you make fun of Russia. I'd be like, what's up, Holmes?
What's up, Holmes?
And, like, you don't want to meet me in my chain.
No habla Russian?
No habla Russian, Holmes. I'll have my bandana and shit.
Oh my god, that'd be so funny.
We'll throw Rick at them and he'll win.
Oh yeah. Spiky Man!
Yeah, this guy's daughter calls Rick Spiky Man.
Yeah, Russell Brand, his video, if you watched the video, or listened to his podcast the other day about the Rick and Morty new season, he was talking about how his daughter calls Rick from Rick and Morty Spiky Man. It's so precious. It makes my soul so happy. Rick and Morty talks a lot about, like, weird shit like what we've been talking about, though.
Rick and Morty is amazing. Rick and Morty has been out there, but it's so gory, and it just shows both sides of life. I think with Morty and Rick, it shows what could happen if, like, two things like that go together, and I like it. There's a lot of lessons in it. There's also a lot of humor. The dark humor is amazing. That really tickles my fancy. And, yeah, we also got the bong, and Pickle Rick is over here somewhere chilling.
Yeah.
Want me to go find him?
Oh, that's okay. I'm going to show the group this. I think let's wrap up the podcast, and we'll shift gears to visuals. So, thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I also hope it's still running, because we might be pushing our limit here. Let's see where we're at. We got 1 minute and 42 seconds left. So, thank you if you're still sticking around and listening to our rants. I really appreciate it. Make sure that you follow Russ Mario on Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram it's Russ Miranda 13, I think. I'll make sure
it's 18.
18. She knows better than me. Yes, add me back. I'll start using hashtags.
But yeah, I'll try to, like, have that all pinned at the bottom of the podcast. Remember to follow me on Instagram, Santa Sequoia, and subscribe to the podcast if you want more nonsense.
Nonsense lovers.
Yes.
303.
I love y'all. Talk to you later, spicy people. Keep up your motivation, and I hope you are proud of who you were today.
This is America.
Bye, guys.